Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. You saw the title of the video. Let's get into it. Last Sunday, Ubisoft started posting what they're calling developer blogs. They're taking the most asked questions in the community and providing the most wholehearted answer to all of them. The one posted last Sunday went over three main questions. So first, why does Ubisoft bring you a new outdoor sports franchise? What's included in the Golden Ultimate Editions? Most importantly, how does the Freestyle system work? Now, a couple of YouTubers, their channel's called Nick and Mitch. They did a really good job going over the first two topics. So if you want to see that video explaining those first two, I'll leave a link in the description. But dude, I'm just going to focus on the Freestyle system because I'm a greasy park rat. So the developers start off by talking about auto versus manual mode. And this is really exciting. It's a feature that we've wanted to see in Steep for a long time. If you guys remember in Skate 3, you had the option to choose between a difficulty setting of easy, moderate, or hard. As you increase the difficulty setting, tricks were harder to land and arguably it made the game a little bit more realistic. So we're going to be seeing the same kind of feature in Riders Republic. So the developers state in auto mode, you only need to start your tricks and the game will ensure you make the perfect landing. It's kind of like trick safety that we have in Steep right now. If you have that on, it's a little bit easier to land your trick. The game sort of does it for you. Once you get a little bit more comfortable there, buddy, you can turn on manual mode, okay? This gives you the complete control over both your rotation and your landing. So what's the purpose of this? Well, you're going to make two parties really happy, right? On one side, we have the realistic players that will really appreciate this manual mode. And on the other side, you have people that just want to toss massive quads off 1,000-foot cliffs, buddy. Okay, both these people are going to be extremely happy. Second off, for you competitive players out there, when you have manual mode on, it's actually going to give you more points relative to auto mode. If you're going for those high scores, man, the only way you're going to impress the ladies is having the manual mode on. All right, now the blog goes on to talk about rotations, and this is where it gets exciting. So they start off talking about front side and backside spins. Those are just on axis spins that you can land at every 180. That's great to see. Normal, wouldn't expect any different. But then once you get down to those two little blue dots down there, that's when it gets interesting. These are talking about your off axis rotations. Now they're kind of confusing to understand, so let's break them down one by one. First one, flip to spin. They describe this as doing your first 540 is a move going from a flip to merging progressively to a pure spin. You'll be able to land at every 180 after your first move. So what does that mean? Well, first off, it's going to upset a lot of you, but cork 180s and cork 3s, they're not going to be programmed into the game. So you really got to pay attention to the wording here. It says your first flip to a spin is going to be a 540. Okay, it doesn't say your first flip to a spin is going to be a 360 or a 180. That means off-axis 360s and off-axis 180s are not programmed into Riders Republic. But that doesn't mean one of you guys won't figure out a way how to toss them in the game. I mean, cork 9s, cork 10s, they weren't even programmed into Steep, and then Aiden came out and figured out the flick technique, right? So there's hope, buddy. There's still hope. There's still really good news here. It says after you do that first flip to spin, that first 540, you'll be able to land at every 180 after your first move. So that insinuates, unlike Steep, you'll be able to do cork 900s, 1080s, 12s, 14s, 16, 18s, 19s, yada, yada, yada. All the way up to as much as you want, hopefully. I don't know where the limit is, but still, you'll be able to do these tricks that weren't programmed into Steep originally. All right, next bullet point, spin to flip. This is when you're executing a fully inverted rotation. Kate, this is getting into your doubles, triples, quads, quints, all of that goodness. I'm really excited about this, and not because we're seeing doubles, triples, and quads returning back to Riders Republic. That's a given. That's just, it needs to be there. But again, really focus on the wording here. It says spin to flip. I can read. You see that? So let's take a pretty basic trick in Steep, a double cork 1260, right? 2 flips, 2.5 rotations. Now, while a double cork 1260 is its own individual trick, there's actually a lot of different ways to throw it. In Steep, a dub 12 is programmed to be thrown one way and one way only, right? So he's going to do a cork 5 to a switch cork 7. And if you watch the slow-mo, you'll actually be able to see that. Now, since the Riders Republic developers are stating spin to flip, what if that actually gives you, the player, the opportunity to control when you spin and when you flip? For example, instead of just being limited to throwing a double cork 1260 by doing that cork 5 to a switch cork 7, what if I was able to do a cork 9 to a switch cork 3? To illustrate my point, let's look at the extreme case. Kate, Fabian Bosch, triple cork 1980 attempt at X Games Bay Air 2018. Now, when you look at the slow-mo, he tosses a cork 1080 to a cork 3 here, another flip, and then he finishes off with another inverted 540, right? Adding up 10, 360, 540, you get yourself a 1980. Now, Fabian didn't necessarily need to do that pattern of rotation, right? He could have done a cork 9 to a cork 5 to a cork 5, cork 7 to a 7 to a 5, right? Still doing a triple 1980, but you're doing it in a way that's going to look entirely different. This would make the freestyle system so incredibly steezy, dude. Like, having the opportunity to control when you spin and will you flip will really allow a player to define his own style, if that makes sense. But I'm not saying it's programmed into the game. I'm just kind of going off of the language we're reading in this blog, right? It says spin to flip, so it may or may not be in the game. Let's hope it is, 'cause that'd be so tight, dude. Now, this spin to flip language also insinuates the tricks that we haven't historically been able to do in Steep, right? So dub 1440s, dub 16s, dub 18s, trip 1980s. You'd be able to do those in Riders Republic, right? Because we get to control when to spin and, again, when to flip. Does this make sense? A lot of jargon's being spewed out here. I apologize. Hang in there, soldier. The blog goes on to talk about the actual trick moves. Okay, this is moving on from rotations and purely focusing on the grabs. And it says there's 72 unique tricks programmed into this game. Now, that 72 is made up of 6 different gear packs, and each gear pack has 12 unique tricks associated with it. So this is massive news. If you take a look at each individual gear pack, you'll notice a common theme. So each sport, ski, snowboard, and bike will come with 2 gear packs. One of the packs will encompass tricks that are more freestyle and slopestyle focused, and the other will encompass tricks that are more backcountry and freeride focused. Now, in an MTB context, say I'm a player in Riders Republic, if I equip a slopestyle bike, then I'll be able to do bar spins, tail whips, that sort of thing. But say I equip a downhill bike, I may not be able to do a tail whip and a bar spin anymore, but I might be able to do a big nasty whip. Now, I'm really stoked because each individual gear pack comes with 12 unique tricks, and from a scheme perspective in Steep, there was only 8 different grabs you could choose from, both single-handed and double-handed. Now, one thing they didn't touch on, which I really wish they did, was the ability to tweak your grabs. So one of the biggest reasons why I love Steep so much is it gives you a lot of optionality to style your grabs in different ways by tweaking them in different directions. Hopefully this is still the case in Riders Republic, but dude, time is going to be the one to tell, okay? We'll have to wait and see. Now, the developers go on to shine some light on some of the grind mechanics as well. Now, how grinding will work in this game is completely contingent on what mode you're using. So if you're using auto mode, the game will assist your jump length, height, and trajectory to nail the landing. But in manual mode, just as rotations, it's all in your hands, rubber ducky. Now, there's one key sentence I want to focus on here. So it says control the board position to trigger different types of rail moves. Hopefully that means backslides. Hopefully that means backslides. Also control your rider position on the rail in order to take turns and do presses. Now this is just speculation, but they do indicate different types of rail moves, so hopefully that means they've added in new types of rail tricks like backslides that I mentioned. But also it goes on to say that you can control your rider position on the rail, so obviously nose presses, tail presses, those things we saw in Steep, they're going to be coming back to Riders Republic. But what I gauge from this is that you'll be able to have a lot more control of your character on a rail than you did in Steep. For instance, again, this is speculation, but what if you can control each individual ski doing what's called a ski slide? So in a ski slide, you have one ski on the rail where the other ski is hanging off the side of it, kind of allowing you to get a little bit more creative with your rail games. So what if hippie killers, for example, were added into it? If you guys are unfamiliar with all these tricks, I'm saying do yourself a favor, just toss a quick YouTube search and your eyes will be they'll be blessed, buddy. The next section, they talk about variety and combos and how it can come together to create more points. Dude, I don't play for points, so skip, but if you guys want to read it again, link for this article is down in the description. The last section I want to touch on is controls, and it's just a simple, what do we got here? It's just a simple 2 sentences, man. And it creates a whole new playing field of opportunity. Steep, you were fairly limited in your ability to customize your controls. But in Riders Republic, man, it sounds like you're going to be able to create your own control set. This is going to be fantastic. It's going to allow you to make the game your own and allow you to be extremely comfortable when tossing quads. There really isn't much else to say about it, but it's just really nice to see they're adding it. Yeah, dude, yeah. Darnar descent down the mountain here. It's going to be full of magic, maybe even some wisdom. Slash. Okay, nosebud, trip 14. Oh, bring it around town, buddy. Okay, turbo tubes, nosebud, lit 4. Oh, to the K-Fed? That was a really wonky front swap. It was kind of off axis. Pull around the switch here. Maybe get a switch tails 270 onto this big thing. Get the front swap again, then linking out. Little shifty. Boom. 2-7. Front swap. And then, I don't know, just a cork 6. Keep it easy. Can you trip 18 this? I think you can, right? Oh! Yo, triple 18 hundo. So sick. Cork 7 on, cork 7 swap, then pret 7 out. Keeping it classy down in Alabama. Oh! I don't know what that was, but I'll take it. Okay, Mystified Disaster. Please, honey. Sick. Pull it around town, switch 3, taking that lead safety tweak, bumping it around, coming into the pipe here. Go for the cork 0. Sick. Cork 0 and a cork 180. So tight. Oh, you guys are going to get pissed off for that one. That was a 10. Was it? I don't know. I wasn't watching. Okay, here we go. Let's try switch 16-20. Possible? Maybe. Oh! Oh, that was... Okay, pumping it off, finish it off. Bio 5. I failed you all. I went Bio 9. Same thing. Boom. Doom. Hopefully this video was a tiny bit informative for you. This is just my speculation on what the developers are saying, but I'm really stoked to see what they have added, and hopefully we get a little bit more information in the future here. Tell me what you guys think of the blog. Is there anything I missed? Anything you disagree with? Did they say Screaming Siemens are added and I just completely missed that? Possibly. Yeah, boys, okay, you know I love you. You know the good.
Good Lord.
Good Lord upstairs, big buddy, man. Dude, he loves you.